heard of men. Men who write love letters to God, then burn those books in hopes that their smokes will reach up to the heavens. I've heard of your kind. Metamorphic beings that jump out of their mother's wombs as infants, then grow into celestial beings that believe in God superior than them. Begs the question, if I asked you to list the things you believe in, how long would you take to mention yourself? Mawande, I'm a part-time artist and a full-time slave. I'm slave to nothing else but my thoughts. My cries are only heard when there's mics, and my pain is only felt with the snaps. And for the longest time, I've been collecting droplets of laughter, hoping to someday build an ocean of happiness. But these hands could never contain these moments for long enough. Broken men could never carry happiness for so long. So I've surrendered myself to sorrow. And I've always believed that nothing is purer than that which comes from the heart blood. So I've slit my wrists open, bled them on blank pages, sent them away, hoping you could find me. Now I found you. Now that I have you, and you have the most beautiful smile, you have the most beautiful eyes with such constellations that I can see galaxies dancing within your soul. And I will fist fight fate to ensure that we remain each other's home. Thank you.
Listen, that was Mawande. He says he's a part-time artist and full-time slave. And those words with the soul was absolutely amazing. Look, I'm not a guy that get emotional or touched, but I was touched because, I mean, galaxies dancing in your eyes and things like that.
And an ocean of happiness.
Yes, and that is amazing. The message is wonderful. Wacht, is ook attention.
Well, you almost cried,
You almost
Rezah.
cried.
Look, I almost did, and I must say, I'm not a huge fan of poetry, but I felt it there. And I want to know, why do you call yourself a part-time artist and full-time slave? Because that was quite interesting for me. Because Llama mentioned at the top of the show, who's still slaving in 2019? So just let him know, put him in his place.
Well, you asked me this question when I was here the first time. So the answer to that is, my mind is the commander and I'm the slave. So the mind is the master. So whatever I think, I serve my thoughts and my mind, basically.
Wow.
But not only are you serving thoughts Zako on the stage, but you're creating a stage for every other person who would not have it on a daily. Why did you make that decision?
I think it's what has drawn me to art. I love sharing and I love seeing what other people share.
Yes.
So I wanted people to always have access to the art, because there's a disconnect from art and people.
Yes.
And never everything else. They always are able to reach alcohol at will. They're able to reach other things, but not art. And I feel that art is what is going to build us as human beings.
Wow,
I really thought that the full-time artist and the part-time slave was something to do with your life or challenges in your life.
It actually is, because all the challenges I have come from my mind.
That's actually powerful. That's so powerful. Doesn't it like drain you?
Well,
Not at all.
I think the slaves were drained by whatever they were doing backstage.
Wow,
Dude,
man.
I think I feel you. Other levels.
Listen, I want to know from you, there's so much inspiration and wisdom coming from you, and I can actually tell that you're a guy who has intelligence and you know exactly where you're going, where you need to be and what you need to do. But when it comes to poetry and writing words of wisdom, what inspires you? What inspires your mind? What inspires the slave within you?
I think it's the hope to heal and the hope for happiness that keeps me writing, because most of the time when I write, I vent on the page. And the inspiration comes from within and from those that walk the same road as I, like other poets and other artists. So I feel that at times I need pain, because most of my poetry is inspired by pain.
Okay.
Because
you write what you feel.
Yeah. Who did you write? Sorry, who did you write this for? This specific poem for?
The specific piece is a combination of 3 pieces.
Oh wow!
And the last bit is for my empress, who has helped me heal a lot of things in me.
Yes.
So that bit is to her.
That does sound like a woman.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So you also, he does a lot of events, guys. What made you fall in love with events before I get into the actual nutty crusty of the events that you're going to be doing coming up soon?
I think one of the things that has led me to being the person that I am is the love for organizing things.
Yes.
Not organizing my room though, but organizing things. I always want to know when it starts and how it ends and all of that. So
Yes.
whenever I was involved in poetry events, people would see that in me and would
Yes.
want me to help them organize events, and I fell in love with creating platforms in general.
So he mentioned now that he was in love. He's in love with the poem and with the events. People have seen that in him. He's going to have an event now with Stellenbosch.
Yeah, there's a number
With
of
the
events
University of Stellenbosch. Speak about that. Speak about how that came about, how
Okay.
that worked. Yeah.
So we've been working with the Stellenbosch University as the Lokshin Poetry House,
Yeah.
which is situated in Kayamandi. We've been working with the Stellenbosch also as the Amazing Unplugged, which is another
Yes.
program I'm running.
Yes.
So the Stellenbosch usually comes to us to find artists. So for the women's event, we postponed it from the 9th to the 14th. So it's going to be strictly women on the lineup. I'll be
Yes.
hosting. And the poetry is basic. The event is basically to celebrate
Yes,
women.
yes, and that is absolutely amazing. And I love the fact that, because it's so amazing. Like I can tell you've been through struggle. You're from the struggle, and you know what it's like for other artists to fight their way up to the top, especially when it comes to poetry. And that is amazing. And how important? Because I want to know it from you. How important is it for other artists to support each other and say, "Look, man, I know where you are in that moment in your career now. I've been stuck there before. Here's a helping hand." How important is that?
One really important thing that people really miss is that an artist only wants to be heard, or mostly wants to be heard, because from hearing an artist, everything else starts from there.
Yes.
So as other artists, we need to listen to other artists.
Yes.
We need to be there. If I go support an artist, I might bring a friend of mine that is not
Exactly.
an artist. So if we go there to support artists, everyone else will fall in line.
Of
so
course.
it's really important that we are there for each other as artists.
And then after August, then comes September, there's the Fresh Poetry Tour. Do you want to talk
Yes.
about that quickly?
Yes.
I don't
So-
think he wants to.
Well, do it.
So on the 7th of September, the Fresh Poetry Tour is actually a tour that goes around a number of cities in
Oh, wow.
South Africa. So they will have a pit stop in Stellenbosch, and they've asked me to work with them in making sure that I bring them to Stellenbosch on
Yes.
the 7th. So they'll be at Amazing on the 7th of September.
Awesome.
What's with you in Stellenbosch?
I'm based there, and I feel like Cape Town is too far from Stellenbosch.
It is.
So we need to be enough, we need to be whole, we need to have everything in Stellenbosch, so that we don't need to come this side.
I feel like that's very
Awesomeness.
close by there. Well, before we leave, how do we get hold of you?
On Facebook, I am Mawande Ndywamba. On Twitter, it's at Mawande_RSA. Instagram, at Mawande_RSA.
Awesome.
Or else take a taxi to Stellenbosch and you're going to find him. Otherwise, you don't have to take a taxi for us. We'll be right back after the break.